Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sammy and People's TV here to run through everything that we saw last night in the 1-1 draw against West Ham. I forgot who we played there for a split second. Yeah, I'm going to pull that open a little bit. That's a little bit too high. Frustrating. That was, you want to see United playing against a low block? You can't really get any lower than that block. It's our kryptonite. It undid us, but Benjamin Sesko, the amount of times I've watched that goal, I still don't really know how he managed to turn that in. We're going to run through Carrick's reaction. We're going to speak about Sesko and Yoro from a positive perspective. We'll speak about the negatives that we saw in the game. We'll speak about Delo and Shaw. We'll speak about United's inability to break that low block down. Same kryptonite came back to haunt us. And we'll also speak about what's coming up in the next 13 days because that's how long we've got until we play Everton, who, by the way, lost last night at home against Bournemouth, and O'Brien got sent off. So they are certainly not going to be enjoying themselves in these. Have Everton got an FA Cup game? I imagine they probably do. Don't actually know. Now let me say hello to everybody and let's get on with today's show. Lots of news to run through. Please do get involved in the chat. Let's see who's here. We've got Alex and Josh. Good morning to both of you. Carl, you're there as well. We've got Steph. We've got who else as well? We've got John Hammond, some members, real recognised real. We've got Jamlek Fizz, we've got Pranav, we've got Brendan. That's my granddad's name. Jay Digley, don't know why I told you that. Stu, just did. And some non-members. We've got Daz, we've got Siraj, we've got Rev, we've got Mahmood, we've got Jose, and Soliloquim. Good morning to all of you. Shall we get on with today's show? Should be a good one. Please do get involved. Please send your comments in, send your questions and any sort of, I don't know. Anything about yesterday? Speaking about today, though. Wow. Boo. I'm glad we played Spurs before they sacked Thomas Frank. You know what makes me really happy about this? Spurs have done absolutely nothing with the fact that they won that Europa League final. 2 wins in 17. They're sat there on 29 points right now. I was going to show you the Prem table for where United are right now. Let's have a look at where Spurs are. See ya. Be a shame if they went down. Anyway, Thomas Frank's been sacked. Is this a new thing? Sacking managers at 9:59 a.m. That's exactly the same time that Ruben Amorim was sacked, and it was the exact same person in David Ornstein who had the news. Yeah. Shame. No one likes to see it. Apart from me. I wonder who they'll get in. Should get Ruben Amorim in. Really? Maybe Ten Hag? Maybe go back to Poch. Bring Postecoglou in. Shame. Right, let's move on to United news. Can I just say a big thank you to everybody who tuned in. I've got an eyebrow. Yeah. Anyway, who tuned in yesterday for the pre-West Ham live show. It's something that we started for the game at the weekend against Spurs, actually. New build-up show. Starts around about an hour and a half before kickoff, and it lasts until 15 minutes before kickoff. We run through all the team news. We have a little, just a pre-match chat. Really enjoyed these last couple of ones. And as I said in yesterday's show, well, 2 things actually. Number 1, I want you to help me to keep improving the show. So if you've got any ideas on things we can elevate and things we can bring into it, I want to bring some sort of live match stats and build up stats. So maybe a live ticker. We'll bring some guests on. Anything else that we can do to make it more interactive and more enjoyable for you because you're the ones that watch it. Please do reach out to Maddie or Alex on Discord or just email us, community@unitedpeoples.tv and send over your ideas. And also one thing, if there's anybody watching from any supporters clubs around the world, working on global meetups for United People's TV members and subscribers is something that we're doing a lot of research and work into. So if you're involved in any sort of supporters club and you'd like to get involved in this, please do email us, community@unitedpeoples.tv, because we'd love to hear from you. We've got some big plans. And then the second thing, I gave this away yesterday in the live show. And I told you, I think it was, can't remember his name, Viv something. Anyway, I told you if you didn't reach out to us, We're going to be giving this away in the live show. So at some point later today, so you better still be involved about half an hour in the show, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to choose a name from anybody who's in the chat on YouTube. One of you is going to win that shirt. It could be you. It might be you. Might not be. But shame if it's not. And I want to pull this up because I thought this was so cool. Well, I didn't realize how many people were watching from Bethlehem. But we did this as a word cloud where you let me know where you were watching from yesterday in the pre-match build-up show. Look how many of you actually got involved in that. And B, just the sheer variety of places all around the world that are just watching one show. How cool is that? I don't know. I was a little bit staggered by that. The community is awesome. Right. You might win the shirt. Hey, somebody might win the shirt. You know. Solidicorn saying, have someone do watch-alongs. I know you're hesitant, Sam, but hopefully one day. If anybody ever did a watch-along, it wouldn't be me. As I said, the only way I would ever consider a watch-along is like the Stretford Paddock style, where it's not just one person sat there and facing the camera and have to speak the whole time. It's like 3-4 lads watching the game, having a conversation and a build-up to the game, then watching the game together. That feels a little bit more natural, I suppose. But I've got my own studio at home, so it's not really going to work here. One thing I want to mention before we get into the full match reaction is, ideally, this is the last time I do mention him. I'm put together a little short today because, mate, I think Rooney's maybe a little bit over the top, saying like he's devastated if United win because all of a sudden he's irrelevant. But mate, I am pig sick of. Mate, yesterday there was almost more talk about this than there was about the fact that Carrick could win 5 in a row. I know he didn't mean it to become this way, but lad, you have now become a stick to beat United with. You can't then come at me and say, oh, it's going to be about charity. Like, the dude was on stream on Kick yesterday, sponsored by Steak, sponsored by New York Bagels, in partnership with the same agency that represents Fabrizio Romano, all right? You've chosen your path, and congrats to you. You're successful there. But you've now ostracized yourself from United fans, all right? Your choices. And now, mate, it's so ridiculously hard to win 5 games in a row, and especially when the only games you've got are Premier League games. So I would suggest all of you go onto Twitter, mute the United strand, cut it all out, because it's the only thing that's going to get cut anytime soon. It just frustrates me that so much of the conversation was about that, rather than about the fact that we've got a new manager who's come in. He's won 4 on the bounce. He's going into this game trying to win a 5th game in a row, which is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And I want all of your opinions on the match. My prediction was 2-1. I was close. Oh, man, that Ahmad chance. It wasn't even a full chance at the end. I was hoping that Ahmad could force a save. But I don't think I expected West Ham to sit as deep as they did. But I think United did. I think Carrick did. What was your take on the game itself? I think the first half... That first half was a bit stinky, wasn't it? Victor, you watching from Bulgaria? You came from TikTok. How you doing, man? Anybody who's watching on TikTok, nice to see you. I can't, for the life of me, figure out how to get the chat from TikTok to show up in here as well. So the only chat I can see is from YouTube. I apologise about that. So if you want to get involved in the chat, jump over to YouTube. Right. Let me see what you're saying. Alex saying, yesterday felt like the first time that Carrick missed platform players. Should have started Sesko. Yeah. I think he should have started Sesko. I think we all kind of knew it going into the game. And the longer the game went on, the more obvious it was. And Carrick actually spoke about it after the game. Said, like, we should have put the ball in the box more. And if you look at how United created our best chances in that game, number one, Cobby's cross to Casemiro. Offside by a bloody a patella. It was so annoying. Inches. No, not even inches. Centimetres, really. That was the first big chance. Second big chance was from Bruno, knocking it in for Xerxes. Again, a cross from that side. A little bit of an in-swinger. Outswinger. running onto the momentum of the person in the box. And the third one from Mbeumo was an in-swinger, which is where the goal came from. Our 3 best chances came from crosses into the West Ham box. I do think that was something that we should have changed a little bit earlier. But at the very least, we got that draw out of it. And we kept this unbeaten run going. Had no heart in the box, someone says down there. First half looked not very good, but we should have started with a goal in the second half. Let's run through what Michael Carrick himself had to say about the game. Little clip from United's official Twitter feed.
Really mixed feelings, to be honest. I think the boys are a little bit frustrated. I think we can be a little bit better than what we were tonight. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes credit the other team. West Ham, I thought, defended largely pretty well and made it difficult for us. But it's a good sign that the boys are disappointed. I think in the grand scheme of things, a point after the wins that we've had is not too bad. But shows that's kind of not enough, which I think we'll take as a positive. Finish the game strong. Obviously, another late goal from Ben, and there's a lot to take from it still. But it's just a little bit frustrating that we haven't taken all the points.
And I think he's kind of spot on there, really. The fact that we're sort of in this conversation. Yeah, there's quite a few of you mentioning Thomas Frank. Like, if you want to mention Thomas Frank, join in the start of the show, because we've already had a conversation about the Spurs manager who's got sacked, and we're moving on to speak about United. So, there you go. Yeah, I was disappointed with the first half. I'm disappointed for the fact that we dropped 2 points in a game where I was hoping that we were going to win. But the way West Ham set up in that game was extremely difficult for United. Would it have been easier if we got Sesko on? And, well, to a certain degree, yes. But and one thing I would say about West Ham is Jarrod Bowen. That guy's way too good for West Ham. Every time he's played against us, I'm pretty sure he's had a really good performance. Thomas Susek always plays good against us. Really pisses me off, that does. And, of course, Wan-Bissaka does. But to credit Somerville and Bowen, they really tucked in. They were defending, doubling up on United's wingers. So there really wasn't ever really that much space for Ahmad. The game was going all down the left-hand side. And Mbeumo was on the left-hand side. If I was going to talk about a tactical error in that game, I would probably talk about that. I would probably talk about the fact that I think playing Mbeumo on the left-hand side was an error, because he wasn't able to cut on the outside and therefore swing a cross in. And anytime he cut inside, he was getting doubled up on. So you kind of wanted Mbeumo. It's where the goal came from. And Mbeumo on the right-hand side, so we can cut in and actually get a cross in, which is one of his best assets. I think he had more crosses into the box in the Premier League last season than any other player. But West Ham set up that game to wreak it out. They were as deep as it. Do you know? Have a little guess. We had a prediction before the game. How much possession do we think United will have? And bearing in mind how. Is there a game that we've had? I think we might have had over 50% against Spurs. Yeah, we definitely did, because they had 10 men. What percentage do you think United had the ball yesterday? Because West Ham were just happy to just let us have it. Did they hit us on the counter? They did when Shaw let the ball bounce. They did towards the end because we were pushing for it and we took off Delo for Xerxes. But, nah. I suppose West Ham did offer a threat going forward. Yeah, Carl, you're cheating, though. That was exactly how much possession United had. 65%. We were kind of camped. Camped is the wrong word. West Ham were camped in their box. And because they were camped in their box, we were just playing around the edge of it. Martinez had the ball. Bruno was hardly finding any space. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the chat. Stu, you're saying, for teams that play in a low block with long balls, I think Xerxes and Sesko should be the 2 names to be considered starting. We also didn't press them very well. Did we not press them? To be fair, United actually still sat in our shape. When we didn't have the ball, we dropped into our 4-4-2 out of possession. a little bit similar in that sense. Kind of both teams doing the same thing, like we had Cunha tucking back and we had Ahmad tucking back in, and Bumo and Bruno were being the two up front as the kind of false nines. It wasn't our best match, but we still got a result at the end. Would have been really frustrating if Sesko hadn't have scored that. Petty saying how we played against City is how West Ham played against us. I mean, mate, that is a serious stretch. That is a real stretch, because we had the ball in the, we scored 2 against City. We had the ball in the net 3 times. That is some stretch you've got going on there. And of course, we had another goal ruled out for offside. That's 6 goals, by the way, we've had ruled out for offside under Carrick so far. And we had one off the line. Did we have the ball in the net twice yesterday? No, it's only once. It wasn't the best of performances. It wasn't the best of matches. But it was a game where United got a result. And as I said, that really bloody annoyed me. I don't know why he did it. They were speaking about it in the commentary. Like, they were saying that Martinez might have come forward and got the ball, and that's why Shaw was a little bit hesitant. It's just the sort of thing there's no real need to hesitate there. Just collect it, head it, hoof it, boot it. Just don't let it bounce. As soon as you... Why is it? Is it because defenders go on the back foot? It's kind of like a rule that you tell kids, isn't it? Like, just don't let the ball bounce in those situations, because then you lose the control of it. It's just a really poor decision. Then he tried to tackle Susek. He missed it. And then the ball goes wide. It was a good cross from Bowen. It was a little tiny touch from Susek. Could Cobby have got in front of his man? Maybe, yeah. Dinked it through his legs. We spoke about it in the build-up show yesterday. It's like, it feels like if United are going to win this game, that's why fun fact, I know. I kind of knew it was going to come back and bite me in the face. Bite me? Bite me in the face? No, probably not bite me in the face. Come back and bite me. Haunt me. There you go, that'll do. I said that Delo, that's who I backed to be our man of the match, because I thought if United were going to win this game, Delo would have to be our man of the match, because Somerville was their best player in form, and Somerville had him on toast. Yeah, Delo couldn't do anything against him. And sometimes when you come up against form wingers, kind of how it goes. But he was kind of making wrong decisions. Yeah. And Shaw, he was losing pretty much every duel that he had with Bowen. So if Shaw and Delo going up against Bowen and Somerville was going to be where this game was won or lost, I think they lost both of them. And that's why we needed a certain Benjamin Sesko towards the end. And can I say this as well? And then I'll head down to the chat. It's something that we've all spoken about, something that we all know and knew when we were watching Ruben Amorim. But we go towards the last 10, 15 minutes of that game. Should Carrick have made some subs earlier? I think he should have. And he actually spoke about that after the game. He was frustrated. He goes, you know what? There's a balance between, balancing in a game and controlling a game. And he goes, I think in the first half, we went too far towards control. We had too much possession, but ultimately the game, we weren't in control because West Ham were just very disciplined on the edge of their own box. So we had the ball, but you can control a football game with and without the ball. I don't think United were doing either in the first half. West Ham were dictating how that game was being played. But what United and what Carrick did in that second half, towards the end of the game, Delo went off for Xerxes. We dropped into a back 3. And we went for the equaliser. Now, I'm going to speak about those tackles that Yoro made. But that's the risk that you take. Carrick at that point was like, you know what? And Fergie said this. And Fergie always had this as one of his founding principles. If you're 1-0 down and you're going into the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, you'd much rather lose a game 2-0 and say at the end of it, you go, well, we threw everything at them. Didn't quite work, but we threw everything at them. That's what United did in those last 10 minutes. That's why we needed Yoro in 2 one-on-one situations where he was defensively really exposed. And there were 2 really difficult situations where he had to track the man behind him, hold. This is when we run. Did it twice. 2 really good tackles from Yoro that enabled us to then go and get the equaliser that I still can't really get my head around. it was such a purposeful finish. It was such a delicate finish. Like, body shape away from goal. Ball coming at an awkward angle. Defender right next to him. Keeper in a decent position. Sod knows what the XG on that goal is, but it cannot be much. I just don't know how he scored from that position. Really was a phenomenal, phenomenal finish from a player who really has been delivering. And you can go to these two games. Now, we'll have a little conversation about Sesko, about his comments after the game too, but he's got the last-minute winner. I suppose, actually, if you look at the body position on both of those goals, kind of side on. Side on against Fulham, found the top bins. Side on against West Ham, and even sort of slightly leaning back. Man, it was just an unbelievable finish. And I'm delighted for him. We've had conversations and moments where we've spoken about, and Boomer and wax lyrical about him, and Cunha too. Sesko's getting his stripes, man. All three of our attackers are getting their stripes in different moments. And I think he can be frustrated that he didn't come on earlier. And I'll be honest, I think he can be frustrated that he didn't start. If we were going back and looking captain hindsight, I probably would say the player who should have come off would be Cunha. And that he shouldn't have started that game yesterday. Simply because Cunha's greatest asset to me is his ability to drive at teams and run with a little bit of pace and space. There was none of that against West Ham. It was really congested, really closed up. So the best parts of Cunha's game, you couldn't really get. Same with Bruno, by the way, but I'm starting Bruno. And Ahmad always has the ability to drift past someone, so I think Ahmad's got that danger that no one else does. So I probably would have played Sesko through the middle, Cunha off the left, and then Mbeumo off the right as the front three, rather than Ahmad off the right and Mbeumo up top and Cunha on the left. And I think Carrick will go back and go, yeah, I probably should have done that. But Sesko himself, coming off the bench to deliver that moment, again, fantastic. Yep, buzz cut Sesko. You've got to be staying there. Danny's saying he should be starting against Everton. Well, if you look at the two goals that Everton conceded yesterday, one was a whipped ball in towards the back post that was a header. The second one was a set piece and a little header back across the box for somebody box crashing, who then nodded it in with a header. They conceded with two headers. Might tell you that a weakness of West Ham right now, not West Ham, Everton, might be aerially, might be balls into the box, and therefore, ding, 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 ding. Langton. Yeah, Langshi. Do you wear those jerseys behind you, or are they only for show? Do you know how annoying they were to get in there? It took me bloody ages. It's supposed to be a nice display. You got Sesko down there. There he is. There's the main man himself. There's Ahmad and Mbeumo. I haven't actually got one there for Cunha. Something I'm trying to figure out and work today is going to get some lighting for inside certain, like that one there for the gong, that one there for the little card, up there for the books. Needs a bit more lighting, I think. It looks a little bit moody down there, a little bit too dark. So I need to figure that out. But yeah, Sesko. Let's speak about him. Carrick is doing well with taking the pressure off Sesko, leaning on the others, but he should have come on sooner. Yeah, I think he should have. Actually, I think he should have started. And I think that was an error from Carrick. It's not like a catastrophic mistake, but it goes, right, okay, well, I've learned from that. We've got the equaliser, good, but next time we come up against a team we know we're going to play a low block, we're probably going to have to switch up how we play, and instead of letting it be passive and letting them just sit on the edge of their box, we'll whip more balls into that box. We'll cause some problems, because if the balls are good enough, you will cause problems. But Sesko must be in contention to start. Yeah, I think he is. I think it's not, I'm saying that Sesko has to start just because he's scoring. It's about understanding the game that we are going into. And I won't know that fully until we get close to the time about Everton starting 11, but we'll take a look at how Everton have been playing this season, and we saw Everton early this season. We knew that Ndiaye was going to be their danger man. Who's it on the other side? Is it Grealish, who's now injured? I think he's going to be injured for a while. But that was definitely, like, we do the what we learned video after each game. I think that was a game where I think Carrick would learn a lot. Right. This is him speaking about Sesko after the game. He goes, not surprising, by the way. Sesko's got that in him. He's dangerous in and around the box. Those are two very important goals for him. one to get a point and the other to win the game. And I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for him as well. Sesko himself speaking after the game, I think he's shown a really good temperament and attitude and approach in these first 5 games under Carrick. I don't think he started one of them, has he? Yet he scored the winner against Fulham. So he's earned 2 points for us there. He's earned 3 points with those 2 goals, despite the fact that he hasn't been starting. Football is and always has been a team game. By no bombshell, Sam, well done. But it's never just about the starting 11. I think there were mistakes with that starting 11 yesterday, but not like catastrophic. Not like, oh my God, Carrick's terrible. No. People you don't have to go overboard on this. I know it's kind of, when I say fashionable, slightly, to go overboard. There's no need to go overboard after that game yesterday. I'd be a lot more frustrated if this lad didn't deliver that last-minute equaliser. But I'm taking 13 from the first 15 points for Carrick. That is more than any of us could possibly have hoped for. And we're still unbeaten. So it's a great achievement. To get that in the first 5 games is a great achievement. And I really want to speak about this lad, because we had quite an extended conversation about him. Well, actually, more than once this week, we've had a conversation about him. Unfortunately for Yoro, unfortunately for Heaven, because of Carrick's system, there's 2 centre-backs instead of 3 centre-backs. Opportunities will be limited, but something will happen. This is football. Boom, something happens to Harry Maguire against West Ham. Boom, looks like his hamstring might be gone. If that's the case, Yoro's straight back in the team. Football's a team game. Be prepared for your opportunities when they come. None of us expected it. Fingers crossed, by the way, that Maguire hasn't done his hamstring, because that would be a bad one for him. But those 2 tackles that Yoro made were absolutely sensational. Both of them really, really difficult. Is that both? No, that's the same one. That's the same one against Adama Traore, but I would argue maybe the first one was even more impressive, because that was when I think it was Bowen. Was it Bowen tracking down on goal? Can't remember if it was Bowen or not. But he had I think it was Callum Wilson behind him, and he was stuck 15, 20 yards away from both. He's covering, looking over his shoulder, seeing where the run's being made, and also covering the man who's running. And then made the move at the exact right time. Awareness, spot on. Timing, spot on. The tackle, spot on. Both times. And United were 1-0 down at this point. We switched to 3 at the back. Delo came off for Xerxes. Carrick took the risk. And it left us a bit more exposed at the back. Would have been game over if either of those 2 went in. Neither did. Big up to Yoro for that, man. Carrick spoke about him after the game. It did make a big, big difference. And this is a player who, like Sesko, for example, if you want to call it that, who hasn't been getting his opportunities because the manager, not through anything unfair really, but just has chosen other players ahead of him. Just congrats to him. What are we going down here? Liked how he stood his ground against Wilson. He'll get his confidence back, says Daz. He's brilliant, someone says down there. Saloon, he'll be unstoppable when Maguire gets back 100%. I know that when you say this, it will sound disrespectful, but Maguire isn't the future of Manchester United's defence. There's a chance that Yoro is. Now, Maguire is the current because he was banging form, but Maguire's injury, that might rule him out from the Everton game. We don't know what's going to happen now. So it may well be that Yoro gets his chance. Start of the season, Yoro was excellent. Then he really faded off. Then De Ligt was our best centre-back. Then he got injured. Then it was Aiden Heaven who was our best centre-back. Then Carrick came in. And then it was probably Martinez who was our best centre-back. And then he'd argue at different points this season, it kind of chops and changes who your best centre-back is. Well, it certainly does for Manchester United anyway. I hope that if Maguire's injured, that Yoro then gets a run of games and then we see the best version of Yoro come back in, because that was fantastic from him. Really, really was. That's what I mean. Football's a team game. If that was Maguire in that situation, I'm not sure there's any way you would be able to back him to cover that much space twice. Not on the counter-attacks like that. It just wouldn't have suited Harry Maguire. be a very different style of defending, because it was a risky moment because we were chasing the game with 3 at the back. And I'm sure Heaven will get his opportunities too. Fingers crossed, not because of a Martinez injury. Mem saying, what's up with De Ligt now? The same thing that's been up with De Ligt the whole time. He's got a back injury. We don't know how bad it is, but given the fact that it's a back injury and they can kind of flare up a lot, you can get tweaks a lot. It's kind of hard to isolate a back injury and also do rehab, because there's so much of your movements, no matter what you're doing, will involve using your back. Not that I'm a physio. I'm definitely not a physio. Brendan saying, I wanted Maguire on a new 1-year contract, sadly not with an injury risk. I don't think that changes my opinion on Maguire. Just that injury. The only way I would consider it is if, like, for the rest of the season, we just saw the best version of Maguire. He goes to the World Cup and he is still that version of Maguire. Then, of course, I would. The idea of a 1-year roll-in would be fantastic. But we'll see. Either way, Yoro earned some stripes. Sesko earned us a point. And it was a frustrating game. And it was a game where we're unfortunately going to have to take some lessons from. But it's not a game to lose your shit over. It's not a game to do any, or even incite any form of panic. It's 13 points from 15. It just means that, so if, for example, like, if you're Michael Carrick now, let's take a quick look at fixtures coming up. And let's realistically say, when's the next time we think that we could face a low block? Realistically, right? Let's be fair to the teams we're playing. I don't think it happens against Everton. It could, but I don't think so. I don't know that, though. It might be a little bit Everton, to be honest. Maybe. We'll see. It's not going to happen against Crystal Palace because we know how open Glasner is. Actually, that's a lie. They love sitting deep. Balls, it can be our next 2 games. It's not going to happen against Newcastle. It's not going to happen against Villa. Bournemouth? Not really. I mean, it probably could be one of these next 2 games, really. Everton and... yeah, it might be. Yeah, well, that is completely correct. If Everton do get an early goal, they will sit in that shape. And if that happens, we'll know a little bit more what to do. Get the balls in the box. Everton have shown they're vulnerable. They just conceded 2 against Bournemouth in that sense. But also, that's going to be how United get through it. Because I mean, we've spoken about this so often, right, over the years. How do you break a low block down? One way is to play with fast tempo from left to right, kind of drag the defence left and right, because you eventually create spaces you can punish. Another way is to play it really wide and use overlaps. United weren't able to do that because Somerville and Bowen were kind of shutting that down. United weren't moving the ball fast enough left to right, so we couldn't pull that defence apart. Third way is you kind of want your technical players to be able to find those, like, eye of the needle, lofted through balls over the top. It's just like a world-class pass, kind of unexpected. Bruno wasn't really able to do any of that yesterday. Bruno, who has been in phenomenal form, had a very quiet game. He couldn't really do anything because West Ham were just set up so narrow and congesting the middle of that pitch. The space for Bruno didn't exist. So then you're kind of looking towards balls into the box. And that's what we should have done more of. That's definitely the tactical flaw that we saw yesterday. Would we have scored it? Well, I think we would have got more chances earlier. Volpe is saying Bruno had an off game last night. I just think the game wasn't set up for Bruno. And I don't think he was able to put anything out of the bag. Sometimes, he nearly did. He got the cross in for Xerxes, and Xerxes' header went like millimetres wide. Yeah, Mr. Moon, look, they did. West Ham executed that low block very well yesterday. I suppose you have to give credit in that sense because partly, and going back to what a comment someone said earlier, saying, well, West Ham did to us what we did against City. I think we were significantly better going forward against City than West Ham were against us in terms of the chances we created and how often we created them. But they did defend their box well. They did sit in their shape. They kept it narrow. They kept it congested. And any time it went wide, exactly the same way as Delo and Ahmad doubled up on Doku and Shaw and Dorgu doubled up on Semenyo for United yesterday. Anytime Ahmad had the ball, it was Somerville and Juve. Anytime that Mbuma had the ball on the other side, it was Bowen and it was Wan-Bissaka. They kind of stifled any form of creativity on the edge of the box and wide. So we didn't really have a way through. So the only way through was the balls over the top. And we should have done that more, but I think we had players in the wrong positions for making that happen. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Robbie's saying the low block is when I get so frustrated. Coming inside onto the stronger foot, it congests it even more. You could argue, if you wanted to, you could argue that maybe having Dorgu would have been good for United yesterday because maybe we would have been able to get him on the overlaps. But then if he was sending the ball into the box and Mbuma was on the left, I suppose Mbuma wouldn't be on the left because Dorgu would be there. We didn't really have anybody in the box, did we? All right, anyway, quickly, if you're still here, welcome aboard because one of you is about to win this shirt. If I do say so myself. Isn't she a beaut? Right, I'm going to close my eyes. I don't know who's in the chat right now. I'll scroll up a little bit. Hey. There. 10 out of 10 for the username, by the way. 21 underscore is coming. You're going to have to believe me. Ain't no fix. I've just scrolled it. 21 is coming. You have won this shirt. Congratulations, Mon and me. That is pretty nice. You're not even a member. Anyway, congrats to you. You've won it. Everyone's getting involved in the chat now. Unlucky. Right. Can you reach out to Maddie or Alex on Discord? You're going to have to do it. If you're not a member on Discord, you can't win the shirt. All right? You need to reach out to them. You need to let them know that it's you. And if you don't, and Maddie and Alex tell me, then tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing again. All right? So you've got today to claim it. Oh, look, he's down there. I can see you. It's up to you to claim it. If you don't claim it, it's going to someone else tomorrow. Congrats. Don't say I don't treat you well. If you are new here, please do subscribe to United People's TV. Why not? 21 is coming at some point, and it's going to be ahead of a time. Now, next 30, like we've got 13 days. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, by the way. But this is happening again in March, I think. Right? So look at the fixtures. Oh, shit. Jeez, man. We are now about to witness the fact that we've not got many games left this season. We have got 11 days between Newcastle and Villa. 4th to the 15th of March, which involves my birthday. Bam! And, yeah, it gets worse. From the 20th of March to the 11th of April. What's that? Is that 22 days? Is there 31 days in March? I think there is. 22 days. So this is the first of 3 mega breaks that we've got coming up. Unfortunately. Yeah. Get used to it. What am I going to be talking about for the next 13 days, says Lang? Look, I'll always find conversations that I think are worth your time as United fans. I think there's plenty to talk about. From a positive sense from that game, we'll do the what we learned. We've also got plans for the next scouting update video on Elliot Anderson, which I'm sure plenty of you will want to watch. We've got plans maybe on doing one on Tonali. I'm not sure whether we can turn that around quick enough, but maybe we'll do one on that. We want to do a little mini doc on United's summer signings and the impact that they have had, because it deserves to be pointed out now, right? It deserves to be pointed out. And if you have any ideas for videos that you want me to cover, then please get involved. I'll try my best to give you United content that you want to watch and enjoy during this time. Michael's saying take a break when you can. Football never really goes away. I'll be totally honest. So, you have a little mini retirement like Gary Neville, a.k.a. a holiday. That'd be nice at some point. Maybe I'll just go Florida. For United. Yeah, so if United want to sponsor me to go to Florida for a little warm weather, no, I wouldn't train. I just like the warm weather. Then reach out to me. It'd be nice. Sam eating out of people's TV. Right, anybody got any final thoughts on the game itself? Anything more you want me to speak about for the last couple of minutes? Any questions about the game or any questions about any players? Fire them in. I'll try and answer them. Let me see if I've missed any more news. See you later, Thomas Frank. See you later, Thomas Frank. See ya. Shame. Do feel a little bit sorry for him with the injuries that they had. That was as bad, I think, as it got under Ten Hag, those injuries. But do you remember the Thomas Frank stuff at the start? Like, right at the very start. Oh, Thomas Frank's, I made such a mistake. Oh, Spurs got it right. Oh, this flavour of the month. Wah. Just goes to show you how quickly things can change in football. What are we saying down here? You could pull off a live show from a pool in Portugal. I wish live shows are that easy. What do I think about earlier subs? I thought they could have happened a little bit earlier yesterday against West Ham, and I actually thought from a starting 11 perspective, I thought playing Mbumo off the left was a mistake against a low block, and a mistake I think Carrick will learn from. I wouldn't expect to see that again in a game where we are expected to play up against a low block. Johnny's saying Real Madrid looking at Tonali now. Are they? Michael is saying, do a video on do we really struggle against low blocks? That's an awful video idea. Ain't nobody want to watch that. Because yes, we do. I know that on paper, we pulled this like table up. I don't need to look at that table. I can tell you that United struggled against low blocks. We've never been able to find consistently a way to break them down and to create chances against them. And we did towards the end of the game when we left it a little bit more open at the back and a little bit more risky. Could have conceded a second, but we then had the extra body and we were sending balls into the box. Shout out to Westcliff High School. Someone is down here. Oh, I see you. I see you there. Is that you, Dave? I swear, is that your username? Can't remember. Might be. What else is saying down here? Do I believe that Believer's worth 100 mil? No. I'm pretty sure that 50, 60 mil. I think that's what I'd go for. If I was United and I wanted to bid for him, I'd go in 50, 60 mil. Do a video on Fergie's how Fergie broke down low blocks. Peeps. I'm not going to be looking that far backwards to try and take things forward. That's not happening. That's not good. That wouldn't work. But look, thank you all for tuning in. If I'm taking one main thing away from that game yesterday, I'm going to keep repeating that. It's like, unbelievable finish. Is that you, Dave? It made me laugh. Remember Big Dave from the Pot Noodle adverts? I haven't had Pot Noodle in ages. Right, big up to all of you. I'll see you for the lunchtime video today. I think we're recording another pod later, me and Dan. So, yeah. I'll see you tomorrow morning, the live show anyway. See ya.